Peace and blessings to you, dear YouTube viewer, and welcome to today's episode. My name is Trevor Bai, and I'm going to be taking you through a video that has been, I've really anticipated to make this video, but every time I want to make this video, I just shove it somewhere else because I am a victim to this. And today's topic is about frugality. Frugality is basically being able to utilize the little that you have. Frugality is the opposite of being extravagant. And it's a very important principle to know as a Christian. It's very important to know as a Christian because it's demonstrated in the Bible in many instances. And I'll use an example of Jesus Christ where he was talking about how he can leave the 99 to go for the one, which means that that single person is very important. Or the fact that after Jesus did the miracle where he multiplied the fish and the bread, he told the disciples, after everyone had eaten, can you gather what is left? So this shows that Jesus really values the little things, you know. He's not like a person who would just put anything to waste because he has a lot. So this concept, as I've said earlier, has affected me in my life personally. And let me just make a confession. For a long period of time in my life, I've never been the best person. I've never been the best person to manage funds. I've always been extravagant or a spendthrift where I get cash and then just overutilize the cash or indulge in things that are not really beneficial to me. And today I'm going to be focusing on two verses that changed my life. And with these two verses, I really understood the concept of frugality. Frugality is very important to master as a Christian. You shouldn't be going out there and spending a ton of money or a ton of resources on things that are not beneficial. You should be able to manage your finances. You should be able to manage your resources. And the first verse I'm going to talk about is Luke chapter 16, verse 10 and 11, which says, He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. And he who is unjust with what is least is unjust also in much. Therefore, if you have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit your trust the true riches? I'm going to retake that. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. And he who is unjust in what is least is also unjust in much. So I'm just going to stop it right there and expound on that. Just think about this instance. You're given a little. You're probably earning just a little. Or you're entrusted with just a few resources. Do you know how you manage those resources is going to sort of imply how you're going to manage a lot of resources if you're granted more resources? I usually do game production, visual effects, and anything related to multimedia. And one concept that I realized is when doing simulations, you do not go and do simulations with the actual, I'd say, final output that you intend. You usually do simulations with a lesser version of that output that you intend because, of course, of the computer resources and how computers are usually limited. So if I was doing a production where I wanted to do an explosion, I wouldn't simulate that explosion in the computer as in a big sense. I would simulate a small explosion, and how that small explosion works would probably portray how the big explosion would work if I utilized all the computer resources. So basically, even this verse states that if you are faithful with the little that you're given, it sort of implies how you're going to handle the much that you will get as a reward from God. So I call you, dear believers, to try and be frugal. Frugality is a word that I learned a couple of weeks ago through one of my friends, and it literally transformed my life, because I was trying to engage in this kind of frugal behavior, but I didn't know that we had this word called frugality. And we can see frugality even in nature. Like, I keep on wondering, initially I used to be a very diligent person in terms of watching Nat Geo Wild documentaries and everything, and probably you have also come across how ants live. These tiny little insects operate in an extremely frugal way that makes me wonder, how come us as humans who have these extremely developed brains do not have this concept? Some of us do not have this concept in our hearts or in our lives. Most of us are spendthrifts, most of us are extravagant, and it ends up leaving you in chaos. It ends up leaving you unbalanced or in territories that you didn't want to go into. So a verse that points out to how the ant lives is Proverbs chapter 6, verse 6 to 8, which says, "Go to the ant, you sluggard. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise, which having no captain, overseer or ruler, provides her supplies in the summer and gathers her food in the harvest." I'm going to read that again. "Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise, which having no captain, overseer or ruler, provides her supplies in the summer and gathers her food in the harvest." So an ant doesn't have no ruler, not like us where we have Elohim, who is our God and our Father, and he has laid out all these precepts in this book we call the Bible. The ant has no guide. In matter of fact, the queen ant usually does nothing. The queen ant is just in the chambers or in the ant hill, secured in a certain corner where her work is just to lay eggs for the next generation. But look at all these worker ants, how they operate in frugality, because they know the value of these little things. They know the value of that peck of breadcrumb. They know the value of that droplet of water. That's why ants have, like, the structure of ants is very crazy. And I think sometimes God usually is very artistic, because he created certain things that we can use as reference. Just look at how even the ants operate and how they are very keen to storing. Frugality can give you a character of being a manager, because frugality, if you understand the importance of one, if you understand the importance of utilizing one resource, you can easily become someone who is able to save that one resource, because you can need it probably in the future. So these two verses changed my life so much, where you're told to look at the ant. Just look at the ant and how the ant operates. The ant has no ruler, but the ant knows how to save. The ant has no ruler, but the ant knows the importance of that single piece of breadcrumb. That's why you'll find that if an ant finds, let's say, a droplet of sugar or something related to what they take as food, the ant releases pheromones, or the ant releases these communication signals to other ants, and they come and then they utilize that resource. Frugality is gonna transform your life. Believe you me, if you want to transform your life to become a person who manages resources and a person who knows how to utilize the little that you're given, train yourself to be frugal. Do not buy anything that you do not want to utilize, maybe. And this, not to discriminate or not to point out to the female gender, but this mostly is targeted to you ladies. I usually witness ladies buying things that they don't even want, like just because the eyes have seen it and the eyes are hasty to be attracted towards something, then someone feels like I can engage in maybe purchasing this item. But in reality, you probably even did not need that thing. So being frugal means that you utilize your resources in a way that you only take that what you need. You only take that which you need. You only utilize things that are you only utilize to the fullness of your capacity. And frugality, for some reason, I feel like is also connected to being gluttonous, which is also a sin. A person who is a glutton, someone who is gluttonous, someone who wants to eat a lot, is not frugal because he or she doesn't understand the concept of utilizing that little resource that you have. Being frugal means that you can go, take your food, measure it according to that which you will consume that day, not taking to waste any form of any form of foods. Like, for example, how Christ said that take all these fragments that are remaining, take all these things that are remaining. And frugality means that you value that single thing. I know we look at life holistically, but it's important to value that single thing. That one coin will eventually multiply and become that million. So if you cannot utilize 10 shillings or $10 that you're given, how are you going to utilize or manage $1 million? So it's important to be frugal. It's important to understand the value of one. It's important to understand how things usually work cumulatively to form something which is bigger than what they are. Another example that I would like to point out to is as much as the car is moving as one, those singular resources, that brake is as important as that accelerator, because you can't move forward without being able to brake. So you need to know the value of this single thing so that you can be able to utilize them as a whole. You need to know the value of your tires. You cannot operate without tires. So having the accelerator and then no tires, what do? You're going to be stuck in the same point, your car rambling like nobody's business. So it's important to understand the concept of frugality. And if you do not have this in your, let's say, personality, like I had no form of frugality in any sense. I used to go just spend cash. If I have cash today, within 1 week, it's done. Then I pray that the Holy Spirit of God is going to impart you with this knowledge of frugality, and that you're going to transform your life so that you are able to utilize the single resources. And by doing so, you're going to be able to utilize much that is given. Look at the story of the talents that in the Bible, where these guys were given talents. Others went and buried the talents, and it doesn't make sense because they did not know the value of one. So I call you today. I wish I can even name this video "The Value of One," and probably I will. But just know that one is valuable. Do not go forth and seek so much while you do not know how to handle the single thing that you have. And I think also God operates in certain ways where if you promise or if you portray that you can handle the little that is given to you, then God elevates you in such a way that you find yourself now handling more. And I pray and hope that you are going to take this concept very seriously. Try to be frugal. Do not be extravagant. Utilize little by little, and everything is going to lead you to become a greater person in terms of management. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.